Hi, everybody. This is Tommy Lasorda. Listen to The Sandlot, the best thing that could happen to you.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Are you crying?
It's a part of our past, Ray.
There's no crying.
It reminds us of all that once was good.
There's no crying in baseball.
Just a bit outside.
Baseball will be very, very good to me.
It's a simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
Personally, I think we got hosed on that.
The Sandlot Radio Network is on the air. And now, starting pitcher for the Sandlot, former pro player and Major League scout, Ted Howard.
This is National League All-Star Justin Upton.
Hi, this is Shane Victorino.
Hi, this is Albert Pujols.
Hi, this is David Wright.
Derek Jeter, New York Yankees, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Welcome to The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood. It's our team. It's our home. The Sandlot is presented by the Kinetic Arm, protecting athletes one arm at a time. The Sandlot is also sponsored by Slide MVP, Tool Shed, Champ Trove, Max Graphics LA, South Bay Credit Union, Fairway Underwriters, Ensight Performance Group, and Pro Slide. The Sandlot can be heard right here on Fox Sports Radio 1590 KVTA, also streamed live on kvta.com. Replays of all Sandlot radio shows are published on the major podcast platforms, including SiriusXM Radio MLB Network, Spotify, SoundCloud, Simplecast, Apple Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and our newest platform partner, where you can view videos of the interviews, Rumble. Also, check out Sandlot Radio Show on Instagram and Sandlot Radio Network on Facebook for video content with the Major League players. Please explore SandlotRadioNetwork.com for historical reels and images along with links to our outstanding partners. Last week on The Sandlot, we had an inspirational story from a former Major League pitcher and one of his college coaches. He was an MLB All-Star, a three-time World Series champion, and now broadcaster for the San Francisco Giants, the team he won 3 World Series with, and even struck out the final batter in Game 7 of the World Series, something that every Sandlot kid did in his own backyard, in his own mind, over and over. We had Sergio Romo. We also have one of the most winning coaches in NCAA baseball history. He grew up in Colorado, played in the JUCO World Series in Grand Junction, and now this skipper has been coaching at Colorado Mesa for 32 years and 28 years as the head coach. Since taking over as the head coach, he has won 1,164 games. He coached Sergio Romo his senior year. We had the skipper, Chris Hanks from Colorado Mesa. This week on The Sandlot, we have a guy that's been a positive force in many clubhouses with one of the coolest jobs in the game. I've known him since 1997. He's now part of the Angels coaching staff, but I know him as a Cub. He was a big part of the Cubs when they broke the 108-year curse of the Billy Goat. I was fortunate enough to sit down with Angels coach Tim Buss. We're going to start you off with a quick rundown on the Major League Draft, just the first round. And who's hot and who's not in MLB? With our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright. Every year we have a new Major League Baseball draft, and this year, like every year, there's the future generation of Major League All-Stars come in the first round. Typically, there's always the bust, the guys that go in the first round that never become major leaguers. But for the most part, first rounders have a very good chance of making it there. The Chicago White Sox had the number 1 pick, and right out of UCLA here in LA, they took Rock Cholowski, and his dad was a major leaguer as well, so he's got a little lineage. Tampa Bay Rays had the 2nd pick, and they took Grady Emerson, a shortstop out of Fort Worth Christian High School. And he's a left-handed hitting shortstop, and obviously he's got a big upside, but he's going to take a little while to get there because he's only a high school kid. Minnesota Twins took Van Lackey. He was projected maybe number 1 overall because he's a catcher and possibly the best player in college baseball this past season. San Francisco Giants took Jackson Flora, a right-handed pitcher out of UC Santa Barbara. He's the very first pitcher off the board. He's got a power arm. Pirates took Derek Curiel, outfielder from LSU, athletic outfielder with a lot of tools for hitting. Kansas City Royals took Zion Rose, outfielder from Louisville. The Baltimore Orioles took Eric Booth Jr., an outfielder out of Oak Grove High School. And then the A's took Drew Burress out of Georgia. He's an outfielder. Atlanta Braves took A.J. Garcia, outfielder from Virginia. Colorado Rockies took Tyler Bell, a shortstop out of the University of Kentucky in Lexington. Washington Nationals took Chris Hashapian, a second baseman from Texas A&M. The Angels took the high school player out of Huntington Beach, an outfielder named Jared Grindlinger. How about that? The Angels went with the local guy. What a thrill for him growing up in this area, and probably was an Angel fan. The 14th pick overall was the Miami Marlins and Jacob Lombard, a shortstop out of Gulliver Prep High School in Florida. His brother's a prospect with the Yankees, and his dad is a former major leaguer who's now a major league coach. The Diamondbacks had the 15th pick, and they went with Arkansas catcher Ryder Helfrich. Texas Rangers, Gio Rojas, left-handed pitcher, Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. And then the Astros took Logan Hughes, outfielder out of Texas Tech. They always get guys out of Texas. Cincinnati Reds, here you go. Justin LeBron, a shortstop out of Alabama. And then the Guardians took Liam Peterson, right-handed pitcher out of Florida. A couple of years ago, they took the number one pick was Travis Bazzana out of Australia, who we've had on the show, and he definitely has made an impact as he made the All-Star team for the Guardians this year. Boston Red Sox took Jake Schaffner, a shortstop out of North Carolina. San Diego Padres took Coleman Borthwick, a right-handed pitcher out of South Walton High School in Florida. And the Tigers took Cameron Fluke, right-handed pitcher. Let's hope he's not a fluke, out of Coastal Carolina. And the Cubbies took Cade Townsend, right-handed pitcher out of Ole Miss. While the Mariners had the 24th pick, and they took Ace Reese, a third baseman. Milwaukee Brewers, Trey Ebel, shortstop out of Corona High School. He happens to be the son of Dino Ebel, who's been on our show many times. And he is the brother of Brady Ebel, who was a number one pick last year with the Brewers. So both of these guys are now Milwaukee Brewers. Both of them are Ebel family members, and both of them went in the first round. That is really cool. One other cool item in the first round, we had Landon Tomei, the son of Hall of Famer Jim Tomei. The White Sox took him with the 34th overall pick. So he's considered a first round because they have this competitive balance thing that makes it so certain teams get an extra first round pick. The nephew of Barry Bonds was in the draft, so was Contreras Sabathia, and that's CC's son, went in the 20th round with the Brewers. And Pettit, that would be Andy Pettit's son. So we got some former Major League players whose sons are being introduced into the draft this year. One more thing we want to mention, Mike Anu, who was a guest on the show, he was the MVP in the Cape Cod League last year. He transferred to Arkansas, and this year he did not get drafted, but he signed with the Yankees after the draft as a non-drafted free agent, and he's going to go play with the Yankees in Tampa in the rookie club. So congratulations, Micah. Sorry that you didn't get drafted, but you're going to get a chance to go play.
All right, Tad, going into the All-Star break, let's start with the AL East, where the Rays still have a 3-game lead over the Yankees. They are 56-38. Yankees are 54-42. Red Sox, even though they're on a hot streak, they're 9-1 to close out the All-Star break. They are at 46-48. AL Central, who would have thunk the Chicago White Sox would be in first place? They are 50-45, while the Guardians are 51-46. The Guardians ended the All-Star break with a 4-game win streak. White Sox with a 3-game win streak. That is going to be a close finish to the end. Even the Minnesota Twins are only 3 games out of it. And over to the AL West, it's just been a lot of mediocre baseball. Texas Rangers got a 1.5 lead over the Seattle Mariners, 49-47 to Seattle's 48-49. Houston Astros have been creeping back. They are 3 games back at 47-41. Angels, worst team in the league, at 38-59, while the A's are 41-55. Over to the National League, the Atlanta Braves have a narrow 2.5 lead over the Phillies, who've been creeping up on them all season long. Even though the Miami Marlins lost 3 games in a row to close out their All-Star break, they're 4 games back at 52-45, having a pretty surprisingly good season. Over to the NL Central, Milwaukee Brewers got a nice little comfortable 5-game lead over the Chicago Cubs. The Brewers are 59-37, while the Cubs are 54-42. And the NL West, the Dodgers just have a chokehold on the division. They are 61-36. The closest team to them is the Arizona Diamondbacks, 11.5 back, while the Padres are 12.5 back and the Giants 19.5 back. All right, Tad, let's see who's been dominating for the first half of the season. For home runs, we got Kyle Schwarber leading the league with 32. Jordan Alvarez is close behind at 31. We got Ben Rice with 29. My guy, Junior Caminero, 28. Also, James Wood tied with him at 28. We got Otto Lopez of the Miami Marlins leading the league in batting average at 334. Luis Arraez of the Giants just kind of wasting away in Frisco. He's at 330. My guy Yandy Diaz of the Rays at 322 and Yordan Alvarez of the Astros 318. RBI leaders, we got Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals at 74. Yordan Alvarez, mentioned him, and again, he has 70 RBIs, looking to be the AL MVP at the moment. We got Luis Garcia and Ben Rice tied at 68. Otto Lopez, again, leading the league in hits at 127. Luis Arraez at 119. Well, we got Yordan Alvarez and Yandy Diaz tied at 111. And Tad, let's shift over to pitching, where Jacob Misiorowski, looking like the NL Cy Young at the moment. He's got a 1.62 ERA. Cam Schlittler at 2.05. Old man Chris Sale still plugging along. He's got 2.20. Strikeout leaders, again, Jacob Misiorowski, 1.67. Huge lead over Dylan Cease, who's at 1.48. Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies at 1.44. And one more time, we got to mention Jacob Misiorowski, the lowest batting average against, batters only hitting 148 against him. Dylan Cease only 190. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto of the Dodgers only 192. Cam Schlittler for the Yankees, even 200. And Tad, we got to go to some of the players who've been not so hot before the All-Star break. We got Matt McClain of the Cincinnati Reds only hitting 190. Jarren Duran only hitting 194. Jacob Marcy of the Miami Marlins hitting 197. Cedric Mullins only hitting 200 for Tampa Bay. One of your favorites, Tad, most strikeouts in the league. Kyle Schwarber up there with 145. Zach Neto, 133. Nick Kurtz, 130. James Wood, 129. And Tad, that's been who's been hot, not before the All-Star break.
I want to thank our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright, from Clubhouse Positive Vibe Generator, Tim Buss. We are Fox Sports 1590 KVTA. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. The Sandlot is presented by the Kinetic Arm, trusted to protect young athletes one arm at a time. For more information, go to the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website, the partners page. Click on Kinetic Arm and start protecting your player's arm today.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Hi, I'm Justin Robleski, and I listen to The Sandlot.
This is Alex Vesia, two-time champion, left-hand pitcher in the bullpen, and I listen to The Sandlot.
Imagine this. Your kid throws out their arm. One bad pitch, and suddenly it's surgery, months of pain, and watching from the sidelines. There's an epidemic of arm injuries in youth athletes, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Kinetic Arm is the first dynamic arm stabilizer, supporting the shoulder and elbow when they need it most. Trusted by thousands of athletes. Go to SandlotRadioNetwork.com, click Partners, Kinetic Arm, and protect your kid's arm today.
Champ Trove, where every championship becomes a treasure worth keeping. As a leading one-stop provider of custom championship rings, awards, and team packages, Champ Trove helps sports teams, clubs, and schools turn victories into lasting, high-quality memorabilia. We craft fully bespoke rings and team packages tailored to your vision, finished in just 15 days and shipped free. No rigid templates, no hidden fees, just a dedicated designer guiding you from concept to creation. Just go to champtrove.com. For every champion, forever. Champ Trove.
That sound. It happens every season. The base runner hesitates, a bad slide, a twisted ankle. The truth is, most kids are never actually taught how to slide safely. Slide MVP changes that. It's the portable sliding mat designed to teach proper feet-first technique so players build confidence before game day. No guesswork, no fear, just confidence when it counts. Train at home, train at practice, train the right way. Visit the SandlotRadioNetwork.com partners page for SlideMVP.com. Slide MVP, because one bad slide shouldn't change everything. You know, I don't say this lightly. I've been around the game a long time. There's an epidemic of arm injuries in youth athletes. Until now, nothing truly supported how the arm worked while throwing. Meet the Kinetic Arm, the first dynamic stabilizer supporting both shoulder and elbow in motion. Trusted by over 100,000 athletes. Want to protect your player? Click on SandlotRadioNetwork.com partners and order your Kinetic Arm today.
Hi, everybody. This is Rick Mundy, former Major League player, former All-Star, and now broadcaster with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're tuned in exactly where you need to be. It's Sandlot, and it's baseball.
Talking baseball, the man and Bobby Feller, the scooter, the
Barber and the Duke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque.
Especially Shohei, Mookie, and the Judge.
Welcome back to the Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. We're on Fox Sports 1590 KVTA. Also streamed live on kvta.com. The Sandlot is presented by our trusted protector of youth athletes, the Kinetic Arm. Right now we have more from Clubhouse Positive Vibe Generator, Tim Buss. Timmy, thanks so much for being a guest on the Sandlot once again.
You got it, man. I'm excited to be on the show. Thanks. It's an honor to be on the show. So thank you.
The last time you were on it, we were in Denver. You were with the Cubs. Job that you have with the Cubs is super cool. We ran across each other way back in 1997 when you first started with the Cubs. I'd been with them since 93, and you were the strength and conditioning guy at that point. So you got to know the players on a different level. Let's turn back the clock, Timmy, to when you're a kid growing up in Iowa and the teams that you looked up to and the players that you admired. And maybe we'll talk a little about your Sandlot there in Iowa.
Yeah, so I just Cub fan through and through. My dad and I, we'd listen to Brewer games. My dad lived in Wisconsin, and so we'd listen to Pat Hughes do the Brewer games. So I was a Paul Molitor fan, Cecil Cooper, Raleigh Fingers, and all those guys. But I was everything was Cubs for me because you had WGN. And so I'd watch them every afternoon. I would keep score. And then, right, after the game and before the game, we'd play with my buddies and we'd do the Cubs lineup. So huge Sandberg, just couldn't get enough of the Cubs.
And back then, some of the Cubs teams weren't that great. We did have good players, guys like Sandberg that you could look up to, Leon Durham. And I'm a little older, so I had, it was Rick Monday and Jerry Morales and Manny Trio and Bill Madlock. I was such a huge Bill Madlock fan. When they traded him to the Pirates, I cried. He'd won batting titles. I was like, what are we going to do without this guy? He was my favorite player.
Exactly.
And I did that little bat wiggle thing in the backyard trying to get, the rhythm going like Bill. And, man, I was a Cub fan. Just like you said, you kept score. I kept score. When we went to the game at Wrigley, which was a couple times a year for me, you kept score. You got that card for 10 cents when you walked in and you kept score. And a lot of people were keeping score. So if you missed something, you could be, hey, what'd you get for that? And I'm a little kid keeping score at the Cub game. And every time I ever went, I did that. So my level of understanding of the game came from my grandfather explaining box scores and that Sunday paper. All the stats are in there. And he explained the stats. And so at a very young age, I had an understanding of how the game worked before I even played it, Tim.
Yeah, and, we can't forget about Keith Moreland, Zonk out there in right field. I loved him too. And, just kind of learning the game and watching. I mean, watch so much of it and listen to it. I go fishing every Saturday and Sunday morning with my dad, and we'd be listening to the game on the radio. We listened to the Sandberg game right there in the boat, Governor Dodge State Park, fishing for crappie and perch.
The Sandberg game.
Unbelievable.
That was against the Cardinals, and Whitey Herzog came out and said he could not believe the type of player that the Cubs had in Ryne Sandberg. And we were so fortunate to have him for so long and so steady with his glove. And I got to say that in spring training, I learned so much about how the glove works and how your hands work from him. And he was a master at it. So everything I had learned as a kid about how you funnel the ball in and let it beat you up was opposite of what he was doing. So once I got to spring training and got to spend time working with him with infielders, I learned so much. And it changed the way I taught.
Yeah, just to see the drills and the stuff that they went through on a daily basis. I wish, as a kid, I went to, you go to your Little League. We had Little League tryouts, and I would go, I had my batting glove and my throwing hand, for Pete's sakes. I didn't even, for as much as I watched the game and everything, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But the drills and the daily, what they went through on a daily basis was impressive.
Absolutely. And as a kid, again, we played a lot of Sandlot ball. We played 20 games a year with our team. And then you played a lot of Sandlot ball, and we were imitating all these guys in the backyard. And my neighborhood, I always tell people, I had about 9 venues. Each one of those venues had different ground rules, different equipment, a completely different game you played. What about your Sandlot in Iowa? Because Iowa can be rural. I grew up in a small town in central Illinois, and we did tasseled corn and we did beans in the summertime. So
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that you were exposed to some of that, but I had some characters in my Sandlot too, and a lot of them went on to be Division I athletes, professional. We had an All-American female basketball player that played with us every day, and she was also All-American in golf. So just in my neighborhood, we had, I think, 6 or 7 D1 or above athletes, and we all played together as kids.
Yep. I grew up in a small town, Newton, Iowa. Like I said, we had Little League. Everyone knew everyone. And then all day we would play in, it was a traveling backyard, whether it was my buddy's backyard, and we'd play, it's basically wiffle ball, but it was more serious. We'd tape up a wiffle ball bat and play with, might have been like a tennis ball or a taped up wiffle ball, and we'd do that all day. And then you'd get on your bike and you go play Little League. And, my mom would sit back there, and she was huge fan. So, just the kids and the friendships that we developed along the way. I had some buddies go on, and they all became very successful. But some of them, went on and played sports in college, whether it's football or basketball. But just the memories of that, and just knowing that if you knew back then what you know now, just everything's going to be cool. Just enjoy life, have fun, and you get a chance to do what you love for a long time.
We were all dead right-handed, dead pull hitters. So my backyard was configured in a way that if we batted right-handed, Tim, we would break windows in the houses where we would be pulling the ball, like towards the shortstop and the third baseman. So we batted left-handed in my backyard. So I was trying to do Larry Bittner's leg kick, which, he was like one of the only guys that did a leg kick back then, where it was almost like a pitcher's wind-up high with his leg. So that's how I hit left-handed, and everybody had their own style hitting left-handed, and we hit hard balls in my backyard, but we hit left-handed and we ran the bases. So it was, while we were playing, we had the radio cranking, and at 105 the leadoff man, and at 115 we had game time, and we had Jack Brickhouse and Lou Boudreau doing the broadcast.
Wow. Yeah, Pat Hughes would, who amazingly, when I went to the Cubs there, he was, here's our radio guy, and my dad was at Wrigley watching a game, and he said he went into the bathroom and he could hear the radio over the speakers in there, and he goes, "That's Pat Hughes. That's the guy that we used to listen to when you were young, and he used to be at the Brewers, and Bob Uecker," and everyone was like, "No way." And so then I started talking to Pat, and I'm like, "You were with I would listen to you every day, Pat." So it was like amazing that's how I realized that Pat Hughes was, our radio guy. Hall of Fame, Pat Hughes.
Because I'm such a huge Cub fan, I got some cool Cub memorabilia. One of them is a picture of all the cool things that happened at Wrigley Field up until, it was probably about maybe 1980. So we got the Mike Schmidt 4-home run game, the 26-23 game, the Rennie Stennett going 7 for 7, Babe Ruth's called home run. And so they point out all this stuff that happened at Wrigley. And there's been a lot since then. So I'd like to get that thing updated. But I got a picture of Harry Carey as well, singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the 7th inning. So my history with the Cubs is deep-rooted, as is yours, since the time we were a little kid. And we both end up getting a chance to be in that organization. And for me, at that time, it was as cool as anything could be, Tim, because true Cub fans are different, aren't they, Tim? People don't really understand it until they've been in the Midwest, where those true Cub fans are. Because being in Central Illinois, it was half Cub, half Cardinal. So we had ongoing bets, and we always would brawl, because I'm a Cub fan and the Cardinals were way better, and everybody was dogging the Cubs.
Right.
So
yep.
It was one of those things where, as a kid, I wore a Cubs shirt every day. I only had one. So that meant about 4 days in, that sucker was pretty dirty, and I'm like, I have to wash it. So, yeah, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So what was it like when you finally get your job with the Cubs, and you're the strength coach? That means you're going to look after them. You're going to make them stronger, better, faster, and make sure they don't get hurt. And that's a big job.
Yeah, I was so fortunate because I got an opportunity, and I was, pretty young. I had grinded through some years in the minor leagues, but I was pretty young when I got that big league job. I think I was 26 years old, and so that was 2001, and a lot of our players were much older than I was. We had a pretty veteran team in '01, and so I was given the opportunity by a lot of players to actually, be told, "Hey, shut up, we got this." I'm trying to stretch the team, be like, "We got this, kid." So like, Don Baylor was a manager. He's like, "Yeah, get these guys to stretch." And so to try and come up with some unique ideas as far as their stretches and workouts to give them to follow. But that being said, it was a really good opportunity for me to learn from these guys. I definitely didn't have all the answers. And thank God I went in with that philosophy that to try and learn something new every day. And no matter who it's from, the players taught me a lot. And they taught me a lot how to act. They brought me up right. Yeah. So I didn't speak a whole lot. I was very respectful. And, at the same time, we were able to get some work done that I thought was, best for the players. But it was really kind of, just even to this day, I live in this just pinch me world here that I've had this opportunity. But back then, to grow up a Cubs fan, and then literally you're working hand in hand with these guys, trying to make them better. And the one really cool thing out of several things about being a strength coach is that you have a really unique chance to be part of their career as far as, hey, you help me get through a couple years, or some guys that I've ran across have been like, yeah, I wish I would have listened to you more. I would have gotten more out of my career. Happy with my career, but I would have gotten more out of it if I just listened to you. And it's all about routine. And I preach routine a lot. Sometimes routines can get stale. You can change those up at the time, but to have a routine, you have to have a routine. You have to have a routine. You can't just go through the day in the life of a baseball player and just I think I'll do this today. I think I'll do this. No, you got to wake up, same time. I'm going to do this today, and I got this. And I think that's one of the most helpful things. Once a player realizes that they need a routine and they need help with their routine, that pushes them towards a positive career. And, game, day, whatever.
Thanks to Timmy Buss. Don't go away. We have inside stories from this Cubs slump buster and curse breaker when we return. I'm your host, Tad Powers. We're on Fox Sports 1590 KVTA. The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays. The Sandlot is presented by the Kinetic Arm. Why wait to start protecting your player's arm? Go to SandlotRadioNetwork.com for partners and order your Kinetic Arm today.
The king of crash. The colossus of clout. The colossus of clout. Babe Ruth! The Great Bambino!
My name is Logan O'Hoppe, Major League player for the Angels for the past 4 years, and I listen to the Sandlot.
This is Joe Adell, Los Angeles Angels right fielder, and I listen to the Sandlot Radio Network.
I'm Adam Frazier, Los Angeles Angels, and you're listening to the Sandlot.
I'm Wade Meckler, I'm a Major League Baseball player with the Los Angeles Angels, and you listen to the Sandlot.
Imagine this. Your kid throws out their arm. One bad pitch and suddenly it's surgery, months of pain, and watching from the sidelines. There's an epidemic of arm injuries in youth athletes, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Kinetic Arm is the first dynamic arm stabilizer, supporting the shoulder and elbow when they need it most. Trusted by thousands of athletes. Go to SandlotRadioNetwork.com, click Partners, Kinetic Arm, and protect your kid's arm today.
That sound. It happens every season. The base runner hesitates, a bad slide, a twisted ankle. The truth is, most kids are never actually taught how to slide safely. Slide MVP changes that. It's the portable sliding mat designed to teach proper feet-first technique so players build confidence before game day. No guesswork, no fear, just confidence when it counts. Train at home, train at practice, train the right way. Visit the SandlotRadioNetwork.com partners page for SlideMVP.com. Slide MVP, because one bad slide shouldn't change everything.
Champ Trove, where every championship becomes a treasure worth keeping. As a leading one-stop provider of custom championship rings, awards, and team packages, Champ Trove helps sports teams, clubs, and schools turn victories into lasting, high-quality memorabilia. We craft fully bespoke rings and team packages tailored to your vision, finished in just 15 days and shipped free. No rigid templates, no hidden fees, just a dedicated designer guiding you from concept to creation. Just go to champtrove.com. For every champion, forever. Champ Trove.
Hey everybody, this is Trevor Hoffman, a Hall of Famer and a San Diego Padre, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Welcome back to The Sandlot. It's where everybody plays, right here on Fox Sports 1590 KVTA, also streamed live on kvta.com. The Sandlot is presented by the Kinetic Arm. Right now, we have more from the type of guy that every clubhouse needs if they want to win. We have Angels coach Tim Buss. It's been cool to see, too, how the Japanese and the other Asian players go about their day-to-day because they've had a different approach to it. It's a more intense and more, they do a little bit of everything. So it's kind of cool to see how they go about their business, too. And there's a few of the Dodgers guys that do, they're on their own program. They do something that other guys can't see doing, but it helps them, right? So everybody's got their own routine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah, not everyone's routine can be the same. That's why, back then we had 25-man rosters, and so I kind of went about it as I was, a personal trainer for 25 different dudes. Starting pitchers have a certain routine. Everyday playing position players have a certain routine. Your bench guys, for a few years there, our bench guys call them the lemons. Tom Goodwin came up with that. So he and your relievers have a different routine. But yeah, I think if it doesn't get off the rails too much, then you can be okay because you're talking about health. But the Japanese players seems like a little different approach. Working with them, it's very impressive to see how different people grow up and their approach to the game.
Being a Cub fan, you start your career with the Cubs for a short period of time. You went over to the Dodgers, come back to the Cubs at a good time because you're going to be in the Cubs organization long enough to get to where 2016 happens, and you're going to get a chance to be a part of a World Series champion. And we talked off air about some of the reasons why it finally happened after 108 years, and it had a lot to do with Joe Madden and his approach with players and bringing them to a point where they're comfortable in the clubhouse and with each other. And true teams where guys have each other's back are the ones that win. And a true clubhouse is developed from the top down with a guy like Joe Madden.
Yeah, for sure. Joe wanted each player to be, himself, and he wanted to, embrace everything, whether from embrace the suck to embrace the game to be comfortable. Being uncomfortable was a big thing with Joe. And, the players, I think it took a little bit because it was like, it's okay to do this, such as, flights, as far as what you're going to wear, the dress code. Joe's dress code was, if you think you look hot, wear it. So if you think you look good in a decent pair of sweatpants, wear it. Be who you are. And that worked really well for the group. From 2015 on, really. But 2016 really embraced a lot of things. And we were able to do some things without, taking hours upon hours of early work or extra work or batting practice. It was a really good routine of keeping guys fresh as well. Joe was just a genius at all that.
Tim Buss was technically the strength and conditioning coordinator for the Cubs through all those years, but director of fun is what I like to refer you as, because you made it for the guys very light and fun, and you're the guy that will crack the joke, wear the funny outfit just to make everybody comfortable. And at sometimes by putting it on ourselves, something goofy, it makes everybody else lighten up, and you were really good at that.
Yeah, well, it was it's a long, super duper long spring training and a long season, and you're around everyone pretty much every day. So sometimes you got to be, someone else or Batman or, wear green stuff. And so it was just kind of when guys came in for the day, I kind of just I could get the feel of everyone, and I was like, okay, we need to do a little something. Joe, really wanted me to be myself and not look around, just do my thing. And so I had I kind of do whatever I wanted. A lot of times he was doing media at that time anyway, so there wasn't media involved, so we could really just go out and have fun. And then when it was time to obviously do work, ground balls or condition and that type of stuff, we worked our butts off, or the players did. But you definitely got to get away from, and I think it's important to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And as long as the players saw me, I didn't give a crap what I looked like, whether I was out there in cowboy boots and a robe or whatever it was. The guys enjoyed it, and it got their minds away from just the constant performance, the constant pressure. Yeah, and I think it helped me, and I think it helped the guys try and figure out what the heck I was going to show up as or what I was going to do. But yeah, and at the same time, we would gather in the circle and be able to talk about things. Players are very open. Look, we're all trying to get the most out of players. We're trying to get the most out of each other every day, and sometimes picking people up, when you say good things about someone, it helps more than anyone can imagine. And so I kind of had this thing where if I thought someone was being negative or someone was making fun of someone or doing something, I would say, and most of the times they'd be making fun of me, right? They'd be like, "What's up with your nice haircut, Bussy?" And I'd be like, "Oh, that's a negative. I like your shoes and that shirt matches your shorts. I really like that look. It's my 2 positives for your negative, buddy." So, but you'd be amazed at how far compliments go and how they make you feel, how they make everyone feel. And so players are no different.
Well, Joe Madden knew that about you, and he kept you in that clubhouse for a reason. And it was 108 years of pain and suffering for us Cub fans, and you got to be a part of it right there in the clubhouse. The last out, man, I was sitting on pins and needles because that GOAT had been real in my mind for a really long time. And when we go to Game 7 and Mr. Davis just blew my everything, I thought it was over. To come just to win and finally win and see the emotions from my mom and wondering what my great-grandfather would have been like in his grave at that point. It was so emotional, and you got to be a real Cub fan to feel that, and I did, and I'm sure you did too. You were right there.
Oh yeah, it was dramatic. Why? I mean, it was like an almost out of body experience, kind of like the first time I walked on the field over there at Old Yankee Stadium. You literally, you're not feeling your feet touch the ground. I remember running on the field after Riz caught the final out. I didn't even see KB slip or anything, and so I was like, yeah. It's a crazy man, and so everything comes out of you, and I think everything came out of all of us on the field for the people that had been grinding out, losing seasons, and 108 years. It just kind of, it was an explosion of celebration, and it was to be part of it was. Gosh, I don't know what I did to deserve this life and to be part of that moment, but thank you to whoever. I didn't hit a ball. I didn't hit a ball in the gap. I didn't throw anyone out, but just to be a part of it. Wow.
Well, from what I've heard from the players that were there, you had a huge part of it, whether you threw a pitch or hit a base hit or anything. You were a huge part of it, and they couldn't have done it without you. And Joe Madden was smart enough when he left the Cubs to take you over to the Angels and a new position called Quality Assurance Coach. That just means you're going to continue to make sure everybody's having fun. And to go with Joe, because to me, he's got to be one of the coolest guys in the game and the way he treats people. And I just think people like that need to be in the game of baseball. And we've lost them, the Jim Lelands and the Joe Maddens. Those are the guys that really knew the history of the game and showed respect at every level.
Yeah. And I'm very fortunate to call Joe a friend. And, Joe's one of those people that if you talk to him for 5 seconds or 15 minutes or an hour, you just feel better about life. You just feel good about things. Things are good. You walk away from the conversation going, wow, that's awesome. And, it's just such a positive influence in my life. And Joe, wasn't for Joe, then, a lot of things wouldn't be how they are. I can tell you that.
Well, and now you're still with the Angels, still out there every day in uniform, doing whatever they need you to do. I've seen you feed the machine. I've seen you hit ground balls. I've seen you do everything that what they call a Major League Baseball staff assistant would do. You help every coach, and that's a big coaching staff, and you got some great people over there. And it's cool to go down there and see you do your thing and the other coaches working with these young players. I'm just sad for the Angels that they can't figure it out.
Yeah, thanks. Love having you around there, and it's awesome to be able to get an opportunity just to be part of the baseball side, where I can kind of help coaches, learn from coaches, and help the players get through the day and the game. It's a really great opportunity for me to be able to do that. And get away from some of the medical side and the strength and conditioning stuff. I got out of that what I needed to, and so it was a great opportunity for me to learn more about the actual coaching side of baseball and some of the analytics stuff. And so, thank you. Yes, I'm in a great spot, and pinch me, baby.
Hey, and you know what? It's one of the coolest jobs in the game because you don't have as much of the pressure on you as some of the other guys. Like, the hitting coach has got pressure. The pitching coach has got some pressure. And when your guys aren't hitting and the guys are walking people, you're feeling it. You're just there helping everybody. You got the coolest job of all.
I really do.
I hope you've enjoyed the stories from Inside the Clubhouse with Tim Buss. We have more from TB when we return. We're on Fox Sports 1590 KVTA, the Ventura Sports Talk Station. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. The Sandlot is presented by the Kinetic Arm. Go to sandlotradionetwork.com partners page. Click on Kinetic Arm and start protecting your player's future today.
Going outside, just like I like it.
Hey everybody, this is Troy Johnston with the Colorado Rockies, right fielder. I always listen to the Sandlot.
Hey everybody, this is Damian Moss with the Gulf Shores Collegiate League and 5-Star National. When I'm traveling, I'm always listening to the Sandlot, just like you should.
Hey, this is Pete Rose Jr., son of the all-time hit leader Pete Rose, and you're listening to the Sandlot with Teak, better known as Tad Powers.
Imagine this. Your kid throws out their arm. One bad pitch and suddenly it's surgery, months of pain, and watching from the sidelines. There's an epidemic of arm injuries in youth athletes, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Kinetic Arm is the first dynamic arm stabilizer, supporting the shoulder and elbow when they need it most. Trusted by thousands of athletes. Go to sandlotradionetwork.com, click Partners, Kinetic Arm, and protect your kid's arm today.
Running a business is hard enough. Growing one is even harder. That's where Insight Performance Group comes in. They help businesses streamline operations, improve marketing, strengthen sales systems, and create processes that drive growth. Instead of spending all of your time putting out fires, Insight helps you build a more efficient, scalable business. If you're ready to work smarter, grow faster, and get more out of your business, schedule a free consultation by going to sandlotradionetwork.com website partners page. Click on the logo for Insight Performance Group to begin growing your business today.
When you run a sports facility, tournament, camp, or recreation business, you need more than insurance. You need coverage built for the game. For over 35 years, Fairway Underwriters has specialized in protecting sports and recreation organizations nationwide, from baseball and softball facilities to camps, leagues, tournaments, golf courses, fitness centers, and special events. Because when the unexpected happens, experience matters. Fairway Underwriters, the name trusted for quality and innovation since 1989. Call 1-800-662-2141 or visit fairwayunderwriters.com today. Fairway Underwriters, protection built for sports.
The difference between safe and out is inches. And the difference between hesitation and going all out, confidence. But confidence disappears fast when you're worried about cuts and scrapes. Introducing Pro Slide. Padded compression sleeves for legs and arms, protecting knees, shins, and elbows so you can play all out. Stay in the game with Pro Slide. Get yours today by visiting the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website. Visit Partners, then Pro Slide. Pro Slide Sports. Play hard, stay protected. You know, I don't say this lightly. I've been around the game a long time. There's an epidemic of arm injuries in youth athletes. Until now, nothing truly supported how the arm worked while throwing. Meet the Kinetic Arm, the first dynamic stabilizer supporting both shoulder and elbow in motion. Trusted by over 100,000 athletes. Want to protect your player? Click on SandlotRadioNetwork.com partners and order your Kinetic Arm today.
It was pretty much decided for me to play baseball when I was born.
The Sandlot's where it all starts, doesn't it?
I wasn't bigger than everybody. I just threw harder.
It doesn't take any talent to hustle.
If you don't pull for the Dodgers, there's a good chance you may not get into heaven.
Something happening here.
Welcome back to the Sandlot, right here on Fox Sports 1590 KVTA. I'm your host, Tad Powers. The Sandlot is presented by the most trusted protector of arms in the industry, the Kinetic Arm. Right now, we have more from the former Cub Director of Fun, also spent time with the Dodgers, now in charge with keeping the clubhouse light with the Angels. He creates support for the supporting staff, Tim Buss.
And I mean, how about like the hitting dudes? That's got to be the toughest job because not all 9 guys are going to be hitting. So you might have 3 or 4 dudes that are hitting good, but that means you got 3 or 4 dudes that are struggling a little bit. So it's no-win situation for those guys, and I know it grinds on them. We've all been around hitting dudes that have been in this game, and it's utmost respect for them, and very fortunate to be around the coaches that we have here this year and that, I've had in the past. But, to be around Mike Maddox, I was with his brother when Greg played for the Cubs. So to learn some things, and then we've got like Andy Schatzley, who was a Double-A manager for a long time, and now he's up here, and to see how different perspective. It's just, and then Adam Eaton, who was a player here, and he was a player for the White Sox and Nats. Was not an Adam Eaton fan when he played against the Cubbies, but loved having him as a player, and might be one of the I don't know how much it's saying, but the best bunting instructor I've ever been around. I feel like every time he does early bunting, I feel like I should give him a 20 and say, thank you for letting me listen to your clinic.
I was down there the other day when he was working with Wade Meckler on that, and I was amazed too at his knowledge, his ability still with the bat. He can still go up there and put down a perfect bunt, and I think the art of that has gone away. And you need guys like Adam Eaton to pass it on to guys, because it's swing and miss and hit a home run now. And Tim, when I started scouting, my scouting manual, called Cub Scouting Manual, that I have sitting here today, to be a 5 as a major league hitter, in other words, you put a 5 on a guy, that means he's an everyday major league player that hits 265. Guess what that number is today?
Yeah.
232. So I can be an average major league hitter and get a 5 put on me by hitting 232. I don't like it. There was
That's unbelievable.
Contact, execution. I was with the Cubs as a pitcher, and we bunted so much. Fake bunt and slash and bunt. Pitchers, we worked on that for hours in spring training. And I do have to give that to the Cubs. They were really good at fundamentals, and they had some great people teaching it. And I'm just amazed that they could be that bad for that long.
Yeah, what's funny is our catcher the other night, O'Hoppe, he did a slash. He did like a fake bunt, pull back, butcher boy, the old thing. I used to love that play, especially when I played, because that meant that it was like a free swing. You know what I mean? Because you would pull the bunt back, and then you could slash, and you had to make contact. So it was kind of an easier play, kind of like the hit and run. Just personally, that was easier for me when I kind of knew I had to swing at something. But you don't see it anymore.
I haven't seen a fake button
in the league.
In the league, and I don't know when, but it was a big deal.
Exactly.
Greg Maddox was a master at it. I pulled it off in a game in Australia several times. It's a great thing. You do it on a wheel play, because the shortstop's running to cover third and second's running to cover first. There's nobody up the middle. Hit a little chopper.
Exactly.
And that guy is going to score, because it's also chopping up the middle and it's hit kind of soft. So center field's got to run way in to get it. You're getting 2 bases on that. So it's a great play, and they just eliminated it. And that's bizarre to me.
Yeah, it is. And then remember, with the Cubs, when we would, Rizzo would come flying in. He'd come up so close that he could kind of cover. He dang near could cover the first base line, obviously, but he could almost cover the third base line. So you had a pitcher that would cover as much of the third base line as he could, and then Riz would have that whole other area, and then KB could just, kind of stay back there at third, and that play worked out all the time. And they, I don't remember any teams slashing against us. Maybe they did, but it's just amazing how the game has kind of changed from when you and I were. I mean, you played, I didn't, college ball, but that's just amazing how the game has changes over time, obviously.
Well, you remember we used to spend an hour a day, pitchers, breaking up double plays. They had that sliding mat that.
Yes.
And Tom Gamboa, I learned a lot about base running from him, and like the technical parts of it and the timing of the shuffle and being in the right position at all times and just anticipating situations. And we worked on taking out the guy at second. Nobody works on that anymore.
As a pitcher.
Yeah,
no. I remember they used to bring the sliding mats over when the pitchers would hit. And Zambrano, he'd condition, then I'd have to have him do 2 slides on those sliding mats. And what a great athlete. But you get some of those pitchers over there, dude, and they'd slide one time and be like, okay,
I loved it.
We're not going to do that again.
I love that. And Zambrano, man, he was bad, and he was badass, and he could hit. He hit bombs.
Oh.
Watch him take BP, and you'd think he was a power hitter.
Yeah, one of the greatest athletes I've ever been around. Right-handed, left-handed. He could throw left-handed, like he would shag in the outfield when he didn't pitch, and he would chuck the ball in left-handed on his non-pitching days. Like you would thought he was left-handed, but that's back when, you remember this, I mean, the day before, pitchers used to do the bucket for BP.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like the day before, I think their start, they would do the bucket. Greg Maddox, on his pitching days, would come out and shag a little bit and then kind of go back in. But yeah, it's... no more. I don't see too many pitchers doing the bucket. Some of our minor league starting pitchers will come up and they'll go straight to the bucket, and I'll be like, "Thank you. This is how it's supposed to work."
Exactly.
Yes. And then if you didn't want to do the bucket, you would pay the bat boy, $100 or whatever, unless you're cheap, to do the bucket for you, and then you could shag. And it gave the kid an extra $100.
One year in Reno, I had the bucket for a whole month because I missed the bus because I was out on the road selling those baseball cards. Yeah. So they made me do the bucket for a whole month. And the bucket for a day is fine, 2 days fine, 4 days of the week is fine. But man, a month of bucket duty, man, that was...
Yeah, because you got to take the bucket in and unload the bucket and then come back out. And dudes have when they're hitting the ball to the bucket as they shag or they're throwing it in, I need a little bit of heart and soul out of you rather than just kind of, throwing it up and wherever it goes. Get it close to the bucket, please, dog.
Give me a one hopper. Don't be throwing seeds. Don't be short hopping me. Just lob it in and let it hop.
Yeah. You're walking 10,000 steps picking up because these guys don't give a crap where they're throwing the ball. Get it close to the bucket.
So Tim Buss has been a strength coach for the Cubs, won a World Series with them. Been with the Dodgers briefly, but now with the Angels and staff assistant, which is a cool job because you just get to help everybody. You get to learn from all these different coaches. Plus, you get to see, I say this because I was a scout for a long time. I'm just a scout that's out and about looking for the next Mike Trout. And you get to see that dude
nice
every day.
Yes, I do. And I'm really honored to get a chance to watch him. Just an amazing talent. Wow, the bat speed, the power, the great defender as well, and just the jumps that he gets, and he just knows where the ball's going to go before it goes there. As
a scout, he's a dream. He's like the guy that you wake up hoping that you're going to find because he's just a baseball machine. You look at him and you look, that's a baseball body, that's a baseball machine, and then you watch him take BP, and when he's healthy, he has a different level of power. Like the ball comes off his bat different. It sounds different. It reminds me when Sammy Sosa used to take BP because it sounded different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and he's, from instincts to, and, by the way, a great human being. So once again, man, just pinch me that I get to, I'm going to go hang with him here in a couple hours.
That's so cool. And out of all the years, many, many years of doing this, you've been exposed to so many great baseball players. And for me, now that I'm doing media, I get to see guys at a different perspective, and it's the dark side. But my show is one that doesn't put anybody on the spot. So typically guys don't mind talking to me, and it brings them joy to talk about their childhood and what made them love the game. And once you have it in you, if you love it like you and I do, it's hard to get rid of it. It's hard to shake it. Even, I went through the strike in 95, and that was a shaker. And then getting into the scouting side and seeing behind the scenes of what goes on, some of it's shocking. Some of it you're not prepared for. And examples like my first spring training, I was a player in it, and I'd never seen spring training before, and I didn't know what I was doing, just following the pack and hoping you can get to the right spot at the right time. And then same with my first minor league game, Tim, that I ever saw. I'm playing in it. So the exposure is so important, and I can't say it was as comfortable as I could have been if I would have had a little more exposure.
Yeah.
My exposure was going to the game, keeping score, sitting in a spot where if I leaned to the right, I had a fat guy smoking a cigar. If I leaned to the left, I had one of those poles at Wrigley blocking my view. So I never had the greatest. And I'd be like, what did you get? What happened? 4-3. Okay. 2 outs. So I'm keeping score, but I can't really see the game that great. So
yeah.
That was my exposure. And I always brought my glove hoping to get a foul ball. Never did. One of those things where being at the big league game as a kid was this spectacle. So when I interviewed Rick Monday, I was nervous, but not Troy Tulowitzki or Todd Helton. They're younger than me. But man, Jim Palmer the other day, I was nervous, Tim.
Yeah, you get those little butterflies that you get that little nervousness. I get that every day when I go to the ballpark. You get that excitement, if you will, that trying to hunt that win.
Thanks for listening to the 12th Sandlot Radio Network program of the 2026 baseball season. We will continue to bring you unique childhood stories from the biggest names in baseball, including current, former, and future major league players, coaches, scouts, front office personnel, and even media as they reflect on their road to the big leagues. Remember, you can catch replays of this year's and past season's episodes on the Sandlot Radio Show SoundCloud and Simplecast pages. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for video content with the MLB players. We also have links to our YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Sirius XM Radio MLB Network, and all the other major podcast platforms, including our newest platform partner to view video interviews, Rumble. Please explore the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website to check out our reels and images from our long history of covering everything from the Sandlot to the big leagues. If you're interested in advertising your business on the Sandlot Radio Show, give us a call at 303-350-0655 or send us a message through the SandlotRadioNetwork.com website. I want to thank our resident baseball fanatic and producer, Nick Wright, for the rundown on who's hot and who's not in MLB. And today's very special guest. Baseball is a game where grown men play a kid's game, and this guy keeps it fun. Thanks, Tim Buss, for being a guest on the Sandlot. Be sure to tune in every Saturday at 8 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio 1590 KVTA. Also streamed live on KVTA.com. The Sandlot has been presented by the Kinetic Arm. To purchase and start protecting your athlete today, go to the SandlotRadioNetwork.com, click on the Kinetic Arm on the Partners page. The Sandlot is also sponsored by Slide MVP, Champ Trove, Tool Shed, South Bay Credit Union, Fairway Underwriters, Max Graphics LA, Insight Performance Group, and ProSlide. The Sandlot, it's where everybody plays. It's a place of our own. It's our field. It's our neighborhood. It's our team. It's our home. I'm your host, Tad Powers.
Damn it! Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter? For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
This is National League All-Star Justin Upton.
Hi, this is Shane Victorino.
Hi, this is Albert Pujols.
Hi, this is David Wright. Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees, and you're listening to The Sandlot.
Is this heaven?
It's Iowa. Is there a heaven?
Oh, yeah. It's the place dreams come true.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
Imagine this. Your kid throws out their arm. One bad pitch and suddenly it's surgery, months of pain, and watching from the sidelines. There's an epidemic of arm injuries in youth athletes, but it doesn't have to be that way. The Kinetic Arm is the first dynamic arm stabilizer, supporting the shoulder and elbow when they need it most. Trusted by thousands of athletes. Go to sandlotradionetwork.com, click Partners, Kinetic Arm, and protect your kid's arm today.
With so many banking options out there, why choose South Bay Credit Union? As a nonprofit credit union, they're here to serve you, not shareholders. That means they're able to provide better rates, fewer fees, and more valuable benefits to empower their members to live better and do better. You want to master your money? South Bay Credit Union puts you in control of your money with everyday banking solutions. From checking accounts to home mortgages, credit cards to auto loans, their members have access to the tools they need to achieve their financial goals now and in the future.
Looking to stand out? At Max Graphics LA, they bring your ideas to life. From custom screen printing and high-quality embroidery to eye-catching signs and banners, they do it all. Outfit your team, promote your business, or create one-of-a-kind personal gear. Whether it's company uniforms, sports league fan swag, or custom designs for any occasion, we've got you covered. Fast, reliable, and made just the way you want it. Call 310-350-3394 or visit maxgraphicsla.com today. Max Graphics LA, where your brand gets noticed.